Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel. If you don't know who we are, I'm Millennial, this is Mom. If you do know who we are, welcome back and let's discuss Married at First Sight Season 15 Episode 6, Saved by the Mariachi. Now we're not even going to hold on like this episode has been holding on. We're just going to jump right into it. This is finally the last day of the honeymoons before we actually get to really see who they are outside of the honeymoons.
Yep. So remember last week, Kristen was telling the ladies, you know, she didn't want to discuss the problems that was going on with her and Mitch until they, you know, came together at a separate location. She didn't want Mitch to overhear the conversation. Well, it's the next day and the ladies meet up, the men meet up, and Kristen says, okay, so let's just go around and see how everyone is doing. And, you know, I just want to know how it is with your husband before I pop off. I said, oh, pop off, Kristen? You're about to pop off?
But did she pop off though?
In her own way, I guess so. So Alexis goes on to say that her husband, Justin, is soft. She has to get past him being emotional about everything and sensitive. Because, see, she's a strong-nosed, strong-willed kind of person. And it's hard for her to dial that back in, you know, to see where he's coming from on that level. Do you agree with her on that?
Somewhat.
I can see what she means, because it seems like every time we see Justin, he's tearing up for something. I mean, it's okay to be emotional, but I mean, every time Justin does something that's triggering you, I guess. Okay, I guess.
Maybe his anxiety level is also on an extra 10 because he's on this show. And like they always say, you never know how you would do in the experiment.
That's true. So then Morgan says Ben is also sensitive and reminds her of Justin. Now, see, that answered my question from last week I was saying to you. I was like, did you notice that Alexis and Justin and Ben and Morgan are already like coupled up already?
I was like, no, I didn't know.
You didn't, but I noticed.
That's why you Mom.
That's right. Justin and Ben seem to connect on that level, like they're more in tune with their emotions, and they both have strong-willed wives. Because if you heard how Morgan was talking, like everything is like, oh no, it's got to be this, it's got to be that, it's got to be this, and got to be that. And she's already, in a small way, in my opinion, intimidated Ben with her Muay Thai, because he keeps bringing. Well, he brought that up last week. He didn't necessarily bring it up this week, but that's in the back of his head somewhere, like she could beat him up or something. Maybe he don't like that. I don't know. And then we get to Lindy. They're like, oh, what about you and Miguel? You all are so cute together. She's like, well, you know, we do what you do on a honeymoon. They're like, ooh, girl, what's that? She's like, you know. So I guess Lindy and Miguel, you know, got their romance on. Were you surprised?
I'm not too sure. Because we all know Miguel really, like, wanted it. And Lindy kind of was like, she wanted to see where her chips may fall. So in a sense, before they even said anything, it was kind of like, did she do it because she knew that's what her husband wanted? Or did she do it because she was like, okay, I'm actually ready for this? Well, that's where my mind was like teetering.
Well, that's very interesting because Stacia, however you pronounce her name.
Stacia.
I'll get it. Sorry, girl. Kind of have the same feeling, but we'll touch on that a little later on in our review. But then when Kristen finally got to her explanation, she was like, first of all, popping off. She's like,
no, I told you to pop it off.
Oh, she's like, first of all, I want to be Team Mitch, okay? Team Mitch all the way. I'm like, Kristen, cut that out.
That's how you already know it's a red flag. You're already prepping people to be like, okay, we're on this person's side. You know, she's not trying to say anything negative. She's trying to manifest good vibes. But you already know that the flags are not even magenta, honey. They red.
I don't know what color they are, but they are blowing in the wind, Kristen. And you shouldn't even want that right now for where he's coming from. His stance right now, you shouldn't even want that. You should have a different kind of respect for you right now. But anyway, she goes on to tell the ladies that, you know, what happened last week. You know, at first, you know, they weren't really getting along, and Mitch was telling her how he's not really attracted to her, and, you know, he just didn't feel the spark. But later in the evening, while they were in the pool having shots and drinking, I guess he got liquored up, and they went back to the room, and in her words,
he was ready to get pounced on.
He pounced on her, and I'm thinking, is that something you wanted, or what kind of pounce? But see, clearly Kristen...
But, hold on, I have to stop you. It's not even if that was something that she wanted. He, like, she's gonna say, was saying, you know, he's so unattracted to me and this and that, blah, blah, blah. So why are you already ready to do something with me? And if you're not even physically attracted to me?
I mean, to me, it's a difference between being liquored up or under the influence, having sexual relations, versus being in your natural state having sexual relations. Because if he has to have a drink or be under influence of something to even be with you, I personally think that's toxic and it's dangerous. And Kristen is sending too many mixed signals, and you shouldn't even want that for yourself. But
Kristen?
Hey, that's just my opinion. Kristen.
Well, okay then.
Now, moving to the guys, Justin starts a conversation about, you know, his wife is getting more comfortable being celibate, with his celibacy, and, you know, he said he respects her for that, you know, being comfortable with it. I'm thinking, is she really comfortable? But I think this is the first time that we haven't heard Alexis mention him being celibate to anybody. So I guess, you know, I guess that's comfortable.
Yeah.
So Justin says, you know, she's feeling it and he's feeling her more, and they're getting more comfortable sexually. And what Nate said was, now Justin, do you feel it's the right time? Do you feel that, you know, she's really comfortable? He's like, yeah, I think so. And then Justin gave this elaborate explanation. But in confessionals, Nate says, oh, I just think, you know, maybe when it's time for him to have sexual relations, maybe Justin is whipped in that area. I said, Nate, you didn't have to say all that. Why Nate got to say all that? Mr. Freak in the Sheiks.
Just because of what you just said.
Ben goes on to say that, yeah, he's attracted to Morgan. They have chemistry. He said, yeah, her friends at the reception told me she was a certified freak. I said, what is going on with these friends this season? You know, I had high hopes for the San Diego season, but these friends...
We did.
These friends are giving a little bit too much detail, because honestly, how would you know?
Because friends talk about it.
I'm just saying. Now, when Miguel talks about him and Lindy, he said, yeah, they had sex. They were like, oh, you did? You're the first one,
Up you. Because I'm just like, he's okay with having sex, but yeah, he doesn't know where the 8 weeks is going to lead him to go.
Well, we're going to get to that in a minute.
I'm sorry. That was just like one of my biggest frustrations. And if you watched our reviews, you know I was feeling Miguel a little bit. I don't feel Miguel at all. That went away. This episode.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
Well, that's okay. He said it was natural, and she felt it too.
I don't think it was natural. Sorry. I had to cut you off again. I feel like that was one-sided. I feel like she just wasn't 100% ready. I don't feel like she was really in that space. I could be wrong, but just based on what she was saying, you're not really going to change your tune 100% within a few hours to 24 hours.
You never know, because the L word was flying around in this episode, which is unusual. But then we have Nate, and Miguel is the one who asked Nate, you know, how was it with him and Stacia? Is it Stacia?
Stacia,
okay. And Nate says, no, we haven't had sex yet. And you know what? Shady producers did the flashback of the bachelor party when Nate had the girls, like, you know, down on your knees. That scene. I'm like, why'd they have to do that?
To let us know what was going to happen, the prelude.
But he said that, you know, he wasn't into rushing Stacia. And, you know, he wanted his and her relationship to come natural too, you know, like he's, you know, why rush it? You know, just because Miguel is into, you know.
He's just into having this to be a real life hypothesis.
Okay. Now, later in the evening, we see Morgan and Ben. And she asked him, you know, do you feel like you got closer to guys since we've been here? And Ben was like, yeah, him and Justin. Of course, you know, at least I saw it. Maybe you didn't, but I saw it.
Well, yeah, this episode, so of course.
He said, yeah, you know, Justin already told Alexis that he already loves her. And she was like, really? You know, how is that? How does he love her? Because that's kind of hard to gauge right now. And they have a little bit more small talk. And Morgan talks about her nursing career and says she doesn't really have a lot of time on the weekends. But, you know, for now, things are going well. And I'm thinking, I wonder why she's mentioning that, like, right now on the honeymoon. Like, she don't have time on the weekends. But, you know, we find out why real soon, later on in this episode. So now, moving back to Stacia and Nate.
Stacia.
You don't have to correct me every time. Either I'm going to get it or I'm not.
I'm going to correct you every time.
They have a breakfast picnic. And here's the thing. Nate is scared of bugs. And I'm thinking, what do you think is going to happen when you're outside having a picnic of any kind?
You know,
There's going to be some kind of bug, fly, something. But the point is, she's like, oh, so your wife got to kill bugs for you? I thought that was funny because Nate was like, ugh.
Someone got to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Guess it's her.
All right, so while they're talking, the conversation of relationships come up and how are things going. And she mentions again, or she felt like men are intimidated by her in her relationships that she's had previously. And she said, that's one thing I like about you. Like, you don't seem like you're intimidated by me. And pretty much he was saying that, I want to be a power couple with you. Mm-hmm. And I could see Nate wanting to get in different businesses because so far he's been in a few, whether they've lasted or not. So that's kind of his thing. And I think maybe he's seeing like Stacia, successful in hers, and maybe he can help her out, or maybe she can help him out along the way. But one thing that Stacia mentioned,
Stacia, you got it wrong both times,
is that she says she's been in therapy for things that happened in her childhood and just up until now, just to help her get through life and just to rectify
more self-awareness.
Yeah, she says, are you willing to go to therapy? And Nate didn't answer at first. He's like, what do you mean, like right now? Or like later on? She goes, well, you don't necessarily have to go to therapy when there's problems in the marriage or anything like that. You can just go to therapy just for the sake of going to therapy, for being therapeutic, pretty much.
Self-awareness.
Right. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, therapy is just something that people have to really want to do. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can cause people anxiety because you actually have to go in front of a person and just talk to them and spill how you feel on the inside. And of course, they go deeper. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if people have some anxiety with that, they should try it on their phone first.
Right.
Because sometimes that face-to-face interaction is too much.
Okay, so moving on to Alexis and Justin. So they're on a catamaran date.
A what?
A catamaran beach date. A catamaran is like bigger than a canoe, smaller than the boat. It's like just for two people. I don't know how else to explain it to you, but it's a catamaran
I'm gonna have to watch that.
beach date. And they do that, and when they come back, they're sitting on the beach, they're talking about what they're going to be doing when they get back to the real world. And
hold on, I'm going to have to stop you right there. You sound so bored with this couple.
Well, they didn't do anything. This was really a quick scene. I just didn't say that. But they're talking about what they're going to do when they get home, and he's going to be a stay-at-home dad. He's going to be a stay-at-home, a dog dad, I should say. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, they just talk about like random stuff, budgeting, things like that. And then you see a boost of wind or a puff of wind come up and tosses that catamaran over, and it looked like it hit Alexis in the head, but Justin jumped up and was like, hey, I heard Superman. I got it. Did you get that on film? Yeah, they got it on film. He goes, yeah, that's me protecting my wife.
Justin
Good for you, Justin.
So interesting.
Now moving to Morgan and Ben. Okay, so they're on a surfing date, and one thing I noticed about Morgan, she has said, I didn't mention this the first time, that Morgan is like, oh, Ben, his body, he's so hot. He's so this, he's so that. So she is into her man physically, so that's good. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. I know that they both, for now, have that sexual tension going on as well. But after the surfing date, what comes up? They sit down and they talk about, well, not they, Ben is like, I just want to talk to you about something from yesterday. We had a conversation about finances and family, and I'm real close with my family, and I'm trying to be financially independent. And, you said that you were nursing, but you're one credit shy or one course shy. And, I just don't know if that's right. I mean, I know why the experts matched us on paper, but I'm not sure if the experts matched us for real because, I don't know what it is that you're trying to do. She's like, wait a minute. Now, even though I don't have a family dynamic like yours, I'm never going to ask you for a dime, okay? I'm going to pay off my student loan debts myself. And no, I don't have a good relationship with my dad, but, she'll be like, what's that got to do with you? Mm-hmm. She wants a family and everything else, too. She just cannot get over why Ben is bringing all this to her right now, because as far as she knew, things were cool. I mean, we were just surfing and everything. Like, why are you bringing this up? You know what? I can see a little bit what he means, like, oh, you lied to me, but not really. Like, okay, she's got one course. If she's working as a nurse with a degree outside the bachelor's degree with one course left, like, how did that turn his world upside down? Because that's exactly what he was trying to say.
If she's working as a nurse, she's a nurse. That's like I hate when people be like, oh, I'm a substitute teacher, so I'm not really a teacher. You're still a teacher because you're still teaching people something. She's still providing services to people who need it in a hospital setting. So for him to be like that towards her, it's very odd. And what is it with people this season upset with people who have put their self forward in their educational journey having debt? Most people have debt.
Most people do, except for Miguel, who paid.
And that's why they be on the shows or shows like this to take away their debt or become famous. 1, 2.
Yeah, but still, I'm like, why would one course like make or break your relationship? Okay, so maybe it was like a little white lie to you, but she told you in confidence. One course is what, 8 weeks? She could finish that for her bachelor's degree. I mean, just because you have your master's degree doesn't mean that she. I mean, it's not like she just started school. Now that would be different. You know, I can see maybe you have a little bit of concern, like, oh, she didn't tell the truth about her career, but I mean, she's working though, so I don't understand the issue really.
I don't either. That right there, unless it makes sense to someone, please let us know in the comments down below. But I couldn't see what the problem was.
Well, at the end of the conversation, when Morgan explained the reasons why that she did or said what she did or didn't say, you know, Ben apologized because she's like, you know what, you broke my trust. I trusted you. And now he wants to know how he could get her trust back. And I'm thinking, I mean, you just met. You know how hard it is to get your trust back for someone you literally just met as a stranger, even though you're in this process? That's going to be, to me, I think it's going to be a little bit of a rocky road than what they're presenting. So now we have Alexis meeting with Kristen. And Kristen says, you know what, thank you for meeting me. I value your strength. I've never met anyone like you. You know, you've always been on up and up, you and the other ladies. She goes on to say that she is in this process. She's passionate and she's all in. And again, here's my thing. Kristen doesn't have to, in my opinion, explain. I think Kristen is explaining the situation with Alexis because, yeah, Alexis has a more dominant personality. Maybe she could relate to her that way. But I don't think she has to keep explaining Mitch and the reasons why and why she feels like she's going to not necessarily stay, but accept his
lack of commitment.
And, you know, she's asking Alexis all these questions like Mitch and his commitment to me and me walking on eggshells. She said, well, that's something you have to talk to Mitch about. And I agree. And honestly, I think Kristen has already talked to Mitch about it because they did a lot of talking in that one episode.
She just wants someone to confirm what she's feeling. And Alexis didn't really do that for her 100% like she may have wanted, word for word. But basically, Alexis is just like, you know, only you can decide what you want to do with this situation.
Right.
In total. Because then she, you know, related it to herself and how her and Justin matched a few times, as we all know, on a dating app, but you know, she wasn't his type. He was too skinny, and she was like, you know, I could have missed my blessing, and now here he is. So that is definitely something, and I will have to commend Alexis because not a lot of times people have done this. She didn't really give advice, like sound advice. She just gave like, you know, handle that over there.
Right, an overview.
She weren't trying to be the counselor like they have tried to make other couples in the past.
Right.
But then when you flip it to Justin and Ben, Justin giving him all the counseling tips.
That's true, but one thing you missed to say that I thought was kind of funny, and
What?
Alexis's confessional, she's like, well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks because he is 41. I said, you know what? It's not even about that, but maybe to her it is.
It's true. No matter the age, he's up in the age to where, you know, he's not going to change. And he don't look like he's going to change.
And you should know what you want by then anyways, but you're right. Justin was giving Ben a lot of advice, but you know what? I think that they would give each other advice back and forth because now
you know they're equally yoked in the mindset of emotions.
But Ben is telling Justin that he overreacted with hearing the news, and Justin was saying, you know what? You can't just
blame it on himself. To me, Justin was putting it on her. On Morgan, more so, you know, he overreacted because At least he admitted that he did.
You think Justin was putting on her or Ben was putting it on her?
I think Justin was putting it on her because he was like, you know what? You need someone who's not going to lie to you. You need a wife who's going to be perfect for you, all into you, because you look good. You know, you're a good person and all that other stuff. And I'm just like, it is just one semester. He will live.
But now we have Lindy, Stacia, and Morgan. And Morgan brings up the conversation, what happened with Ben. And she's talking about how she couldn't trust him. And like, she feels things are broken. And she's like, you know, who doesn't have student loan debt? Who doesn't do this? You know, I came here with good intentions. I want a man that's going to be proud of me. I don't disagree with that. I mean, student loan debt, I mean, really? She's like, we're not on the same level. Like, pretty much you have to meet me halfway. You came on this process to get a wife, and I came on this process to meet a husband. So, you know, we're on the same journey, connected. So how come you can't meet me here? You know, and I agree with her with that. And then Lindy said, you have to manage expectations. You know, it takes time to build things up. It takes time to get to know someone. It takes time. Like, whatever level you're on, it takes time. And I was surprised that Lindy said that. And then Stacia asked Lindy about her and Miguel's relationship. And how did it feel to be comfortable already in a sexual relationship? And then Stacia got to getting emotional, crying and saying, you know, because I just want to make sure it was consensual just because of the things that you were saying that we heard you say before. You know, she's like, Lindy's like, no, it's all good. You know I grew up in a religious household and all, but, you know, it was very genuine and everything. And see, earlier you said that you didn't necessarily think that was true, that it was natural, that you didn't feel that was true.
Yeah, me and Stacia were feeling the same way.
Then we see Lindy questioned Stacia about Nate's authenticity. She says, because, you know, we're here in this honeymoon, we're in this environment, and there are times where I don't even know where my phone is.
By the way, I felt that was very passive aggressive.
I don't even know where my phone is. And, you know, but you see Nate, he's always like, oh, look at me, I'm on my phone. Look at my wife.
But this is Para Miguel. Miguel questioned Nate's authenticity. And I think it's just so funny how this makes a full 180 when we come to the end of the episode. But I'll leave my comments to the end of the episode.
Okay, then we see a quick little scene with Lindy and Miguel after that, go kayaking. And Lindy says she has so much love and respect for Miguel. And she knows her butterflies will increase once she gets to know him. And Miguel says he's happy and he's got into the relationship. But there's one caveat, and that is he's not sure where they will be at the end of this experience. He doesn't know if it's going to last more than 8 weeks. And Lindy's like, well, you know, just keep me in mind when you decide. And, you know I know I want forever, and you know you want forever, but, you know, we just need to come together to know if this is forever. I'm like, Lindy, he's telling you now. He's looking for a way out. Now, they made surprises at the end of the season, but, you know, just like with Mitch, with his stance, and now we see Miguel and his stance, right now, things don't look like they're looking good for now. We'll have to see when these experts come in what they can enlighten these couples with, if they can. I'm not sure. So now the couples meet up in the evening.
Because the honeymoon is finally over.
Yes, we could get to the nitty gritty and see the new experts come in. We've all been waiting for that. Lindy just blurts out that, you know, Miguel is talking about after 8 weeks.
I know, she's like, not to put you on blast, but he's not looking for more than 8 weeks. I'm like, why are you doing this right here? See, those are the little things that people look at when they first meet you as, you know, strangers, and now you're in a relationship, a real married relationship. Like, is it someone who I want to be my partner? People don't want to be around people who are just going to put them on, as Mom would say, front street in front of people you don't know.
Exactly.
That's not cool. So that's like a ding in Miguel's book. Why? Another reason why I'm not trying to be with her past 8 weeks.
Exactly. Like, you're feeling his fire. That's the reason why. And then you move to Mitch. He's talking about, you know, we're getting back to the real world and how it's going to be moving in together. I'm like, you know, just with his job and, you know, he works abnormal hours, and Kristen's like, you know, that's okay. See, Kristen's also like, no, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like her and Lindy have reversed. Kristen and Lindy have reversed in this dinner situation. You know, like, no, it's okay. When Kristen was just like, you know, he need to figure out what he needs, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and then we see Stacia, and she'd talk about Nate. It doesn't matter. Nate's concerned if she would revert back to her work life, because her work life is so demanding.
It don't matter. She buying a house and he's moving in.
Well, this would be after the 8 weeks, right? Because when they come back together, they should be living in an apartment together. So I think maybe they don't know that they're living together, or you think the Married at First Sight is going to let them decide where they're going to live again where they first started.
Don't matter. She building her own house and he moving in.
Well, Morgan is worried that her work schedule is going to be too much for Ben. She said because, you know, she works a lot as a nurse, and when she comes home, listen, she don't want to take care of nobody when she come home. I'm like, see, here we go.
Mm-hmm. And Miguel was questioning a lot of the couples tonight.
He was. I was like, really? Like, he questioned Nate. He questioned Morgan. I believe he questioned Justin. But back to what I was saying about Morgan. See, she's already telling Ben that she's not trying to take care of nothing and nobody when she gets home. Isn't his thing say mama's boy? He's not used to that. He's used to being taken care of, but this is going to be
strap up.
It's going to be a different lifestyle. Now, when it comes to Justin and Alexis, he says he doesn't want her to worry about anything. You know, he's got whatever's going to happen at the house. Does he work?
Gonna make some smoothies for her, just gonna cater to her and everything else. And once again, Miguel was like, well, what's she gonna do?
Right.
And she's like, you know, I'm just gonna be here to support. I was like, girl, I feel you on that one. That is me. I'm just here to support. And if you need something, holla at me. But I ain't trying to do, you know, the domestic stuff. I'm not trying to cook and clean. I'm sorry, Mom. I have to say it.
That's
I'm
your
not
life.
trying to do all that.
Well, you know what? As they say all that, like you mentioned, Miguel goes around asking different people different questions, and then
But
Stacia.
before you even to Stacia.
Okay.
Stacia was like, you know, I love this for you guys. I love you guys as a whole. She was just feeling their aura. And now, do you think Alexis was saying that she loves Justin? Or do you think Alexis was saying, you know, I love that he wants to do that? Like, I got love for him.
I don't know what she was saying, but she clarifies in just a minute when we get to Stacia, whatever your name is. But Stacia said to Miguel, you know what? I weren't trying to come for you, but I got something to say. And all of a sudden, here comes that mariachi band. And everybody was like, woo, at the table. But you can hear Lindy say, it's okay, don't worry about it, because no matter what, I got you. Because you know what? I think everyone was waiting for us to hear what Stacia had to say, because Miguel was kind of like, in a way, overstepping his bounds with his conversation.
Like, how do you know, saying to Alexis Justin, how do you know you love someone? Because I don't even think I'll be there at the 8 weeks. Or going to Morgan, saying like, you know, well, where does he fit into all this? He was really coming at people passive aggressive.
Right.
So I guess they're a passive aggressive couple, which that's not going to work. But continue.
All right, so after all that, we see some pillow talk. We got Stacia and Nate talking about...
Are you just going to call her Stacia?
Probably. Talking about, she asked him where his intentions were, and she was afraid of him detaching from her because she's felt that before in previous relationships. I think she's kind of like, again, telling him, without telling him about the therapy thing, how she's trying to work on herself. And I really think that she feels that she runs people off, because she goes on to say that she doesn't know if she's enough for him, you know, and he's trying to tell her, you know, that she is, and he's growing into love with her. Like, this is the first cast I've noticed that is using that L word. I'm saying it again. Like, already.
Well, my favorite scene when they get back to the room was with Lindy and Miguel, because Lindy was too through with them. She's like, how dare they come for us? And I'm just like, well, didn't you tell them how you're feeling? And wanted to know about Miguel? I don't know. It was just very weird to me, because I'm like, I don't know. He's just seeing this as an experiment.
Yeah.
He's not seeing this, in my eyes, as something he sees long term. Because yeah, you guys are strangers, and you know Lindy's trying to go with it. Like, yeah, we're strangers, so I get it. But it's like, if you're really in this, you're gonna be fully in this. It's gonna be like, yeah, maybe I can really see this past 8 weeks. Not like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to see 24 to 48 hours before this ends.
Yeah, not even that, really. And then you have Lindy and Mitch, and he's telling her how, well, you have to hold me accountable, and you know how, you know, we could build a connection together as time goes on. And I'm thinking, he said, well, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe, but too many mixed signals there for me. So to me, Kristen has to take that with a grain of salt.
Oh, and then your favorite scene. I think this had to have been your favorite scene, I think.
Who, Alexis and Justin?
Mm-hmm.
For which part?
The whole thing.
Well, Alexis was saying, you know what, you can't save everybody. And on top of that, you can't be putting him first. I'm your wife.
Mm-hmm. I just want to know why he was just so upset about this.
He was emotional because, again, he sees Ben as he sees himself, like giving his all, being emotional, like a mirror image of himself when he sees them in relationships, you know, for women.
As soon as I saw that scene, I was like, see, Alexis, I was with you with the supportive stuff, but I don't know, I just can't get with all the crying. That is just not for
It's
me.
a lot. It's a lot, and it's not for me either. But I mean, maybe she'll find a way, and who knows, they'll work out. But what she said was at the end, well, you know, Justin Terrell, whatever his last name is, I love you, and he was like, ooh,
that flipped his switch.
Flipped his
He
switch.
just flipped the switch.
Yeah.
Flip. He's about to uncelibacy.
Well, that was pretty much the end of the episode. What'd you think about it?
Like I said in the beginning of our episode, that it was just like the prelude to what's about to come. I'm ready to see. You like the honeymoons. I like when they get home, and I like the cabin scenes. Those are my two favorite episodes. So I really want to see what it's going to be like when they move in. How are they going to interact? Are they actually going to be in the same house?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They're going to be in the same bed? Who knows? We're going to figure it out.
Well, it's not about me liking the honeymoon. I just think that you find a lot about the couples on the honeymoon since they're strangers. So that's what I think about that. Mm-hmm. But I just want to see the new experts come in, and I want them to come in before anything else gets out of hand. So,
well, I don't see anything getting out of hand. It doesn't give me of that season.
Okay.
So let us know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments down below. Once again, thank you all for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can watch Mom's Love After Lockup video, her cancer journey videos, which is also going to be on our channel, KB, going to be linked below. And anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you all again for watching. And as always, live simply. Be grateful.